The Sunfallen Road, Chapter 22. The chamber was still empty when I awoke in the evening. Looking across the room, I saw my knapsack, neglected and forgotten. Still covered with shadow, I moved carefully across the chamber, picked it up, and slung it over my shoulders. I used the speed and shadow gifts to again move up to the top of the chamber, and I carved my way out with strong arms and claw-like fingers. The sun had just set, I saw. Pausing for a moment, I gave voice to a brief but grief-wrought sob. Fae were nothing like we read in fairy tales. I wondered how much blood I would have to give before I found Etziongeber. I shuddered and pulled myself together. I was tired and thirsty, but I couldn't waste time. I set off for Salzburg, knowing I would find the regent and a safe place to rest and drink. I reached it in just a few short hours. I knew without even looking where to find the regent's home. I paused in a forest by a river, washed my body and my hair, binding it up into a bun in the old style, with pieces framing my face and covering my forehead. I changed into a clean set of clothes, and I set off into the city. I found the regent's house, knocked on the door. A vampire I didn't recognize opened the door. "Yes?" she asked me, a middle-aged woman wearing a black dress and pearls. "I've come to visit the regent." "And you are?" "Melpomene Aguilar." "A moment. Please wait here." She had left me in the foyer and disappeared into the house. I fidgeted for the first time in decades, picking at the loose threads on my pants, twirling my hair. After what seemed like an eternity, and this amused me for what should pass as obvious dark humor, she returned. "Welcome, Lady Aguilar. Please follow me." She led me up a set of stairs and into the regent's office on the second floor. "Welcome back, Melpomene," said the regent, getting to his feet and giving me a gruff hug. Gustavus Eisenberg was a heavily built man, with a mustache and goatee that he always kept neatly trimmed. His hair was dark, and he had dark blue eyes that reminded me of the ocean on a cloudy day. I returned his hug. Except for Klaus, Gustavus had always been the most human vampire I knew, and like me, he clung to things that made him human, although he never shared this with anyone aside from myself. Something I had in common with Father Inglesio was that we could both keep secrets, and in the vampiric realm had excellent reputations for such. Most of the regents I worked for confided secrets in me that they didn't dare tell any other. It often puzzled me, but of course, I kept their secrets, and my silence. As much as I did not want their secrets to begin with, having a reputation for being circumspect wasn't the worst thing to have among vampire kind. Gustavus gestured to the woman, who left the office and closed the door behind her. "So what brings you back to Salzburg? Last I heard you were working with the regent of Paris, that old stick in the mud." He chuckled, seating himself at his desk and indicating a seat to me. I laughed and sat down. "More recently, I have worked for the regent of Chicago, but I've since left off working in Vampire Society." He gestured to my ring. "Nevertheless, I see the many years of service you gave received the recognition you deserved." He smiled. I inclined my head. "Thank you, Your Grace." "I must admit I am pleased to see you again," he said. "Are you vacationing?" "No, I am passing through on my way to the east." "Where are you bound?" "I'm looking for Etziongeber." He blinked. "Really now?" I nodded. "Why?" Most vampires grew accustomed to being vampires and eventually either accepted their undead existence or else committed suicide if having to consume blood became too torturous for them. It never occurred to most vampires to seek humanity again. Most of them never had cause. Gustavus was asking me what my motivation could be for such a desire. "I married a human," I said, simply. He blinked, and then laughed, although not unkindly. "Perhaps not the wisest choice, but do you love one another?" "More than anything." He nodded, folding his hands across his broad belly. We are of another kind than they. I would imagine the differences between you trouble your marriage, especially if he knows what you are. It is exactly that. But I must ask you something more important. Of course. Do you do this for yourself or only for him? To enter Etziongebert, I hear, is an exacting and demanding road. You must want to be human again, truly want it. I lowered my head. I don't know, Gustavus. I truly don't know. When I left Chicago, I left to seek Etziongebert for him, but now it could go either way. He regarded me with kind eyes, as a father might a daughter. He said softly, "Our existences have many perils, as do the lives of humans. If you become human again, you will live a human life, and one day you will die. There is good in that, Melpomene. None of us were meant to live forever. Our eternity is an accident of fate." I looked at him. I know. Are you afraid to die? Etziongebert might kill me anyway. Are you afraid? He asked me again. Yes. Good. Fear is a very human emotion, but it is the opposite of love. If you turn the fear in your heart to love for your husband, for humanity, but most of all for yourself, you might survive the trials. Is that what they call it? Yes. There is hardly a more appropriate word for the test Etziongebert inflicts on vampires. How do you know all this? He smiled. I want to show you something. He led me from the office, down the stairs, and into the basement. Opening a door at the far end, he led me down yet another flight of stairs to another door, shook out a key, and opened it. Through the door was a small room, lined with books, but at the rear stood a large volume on a pedestal, locked with 3 very heavy locks. Gustavus beckoned me to join him at the pedestal and unlocked the book. As he opened it, I saw that the book was written in Arabic, which surprised me. "The words of Solomon," he read. "It came to me many years ago, before you were even born." "This is the personal account of our bloodline's founder?" I whispered. "The same," he said. "It is from this volume that I have learned many secrets about our kind, and also about Etziongebert. It is a real enough place, but only one with the right frame of mind and heart can find it." He turned the pages until he found the section he was looking for. "Read this. It will tell you all you need to know." He left the room, and I turned back to the book to read. "Blessed children, hear my words. Despite the curse of the One Most High, I have taken it upon myself to kneel at his altar, bear the scourge, and ask his forgiveness." The angel Gabriel came to me, and her countenance was most kind. "Solomon, you were once most sacred among men, and it is for that reason that the One Most High offers you a chance for redemption." "Gabriel, sacred Gabriel, what must I do?" She leaned down and whispered into my ear, "This salvation, should you choose to pursue it, can save all your people, but they must pursue it with pure and kind hearts, open minds, and loving will. They must forsake blood and take as little of it as possible to survive. The road to Etziongebert will test them in many ways. No one road is the same. On foot, they must pass through Europe and through the gates of the east, wherein lies sacred ground. In the valley between sun and shadow, they will find the gates of Etziongebert, and before those gates stands Uriel, the dark angel of death." I listened to every word that came from that melodic tongue, drinking in her words as though they were life-giving blood itself. "Uriel will send them on through the plain of the dead, where they will face themselves. If they survive the trials, when they return through those gates, beloved Solomon, they will be able to bear the sun, and they will no longer bear their dark thirst." "And what if they should drink of blood again, Gabriel?" "Then they will be damned, and will once again be vampires, doomed to live until Ragnarok or death takes them, hiding from the sun, drinking only blood, Never again will they be able to return to Etienne-Gebert to seek salvation once again. Feverishly I rose to my feet as Gabriel faded away, and I set out that very night to look for Etienne-Gebert again, for my fragile mind recalled not where it lay. For many days I wandered until I came to the gates of the east, and finally to the gates of Etienne-Gebert. Strong Uriel stood there, and his face was grim, but his eyes were full of love. "Solomon, will you undertake the trials?" he asked me. "I will, sacred Uriel," I said, "for I want nothing more to be than as I was, a child beloved in the sight of the all." I passed through the gate into an unknown realm. Indescribable horrors assailed me. I cannot tell of them, for there are no words for them. But when at last that dark realm released me, I passed through the gate into a new sunrise, and I was relieved of my thirst, as Gabriel had promised. From that day on, I told my children, my beloved children who still carried the thirst of the damned of Etienne-Gebert, told them how they could lift their curse. Etienne-Gebert holds the key to our redemption, but a warning. All those who seek what Etienne-Gebert has to offer must go with love in their hearts, with divinity in their minds, or they will not survive the trials. They must have faith. They must bear love, not only for another, but for themselves and for the divine and holy powers that watch over us all. This they must find within and not without. Without these things, the trials will destroy them, and they will wander the far reaches of the dark realm of purgatory, forever out of the sight and light of the One Most High. But be of good faith, my children, for if God and the angels did not love us still, they would not have given us this path to freedom, the gate to salvation. Have faith, and may the peace of God be upon you. I closed the book. I thought about all I had just read, and somehow the words filled me with strength rather than dread. I knew now why I needed to come to Salzburg. I needed to read these words, to understand what it was I had to do to become human again. But I also realized that I did not love myself as much as I might. Guilt had plagued me all the years I had been a vampire, and although Silver loved me without qualification, I did not know if I loved myself as much as I ought to have. I had to think about this some more. After Gustavus had locked up the book in the basement again, we sat together in his living room, and we drank. Remembering what I had read, I had only one glass. "Did it help you?" he asked me. I nodded. "Is there anyone still living who has passed through the gates of Etienne-Gebert and lived?" I asked quietly, thinking of Abel. "Only one that I know of personally. I must speak with him. He is difficult to find. I don't care. Etienne-Gebert itself will be hard enough to find. This one can hardly be more difficult to locate." He laughed. "To be sure. Tell me where to find him." "When last I heard, he resided on a mountain in Turkey." "His name?" "Eri Nobunaki." I nodded. "I will seek him out." I considered him carefully. "Why haven't you gone, Gustavus?" He smiled, a little sadly, I thought. "You cannot find Etienne-Gebert if you are afraid to die."